Okay, yeah, so I'm Matt. I work at an ISV partner called CDL, where we use data and AI to power retail high volume digital insurance journeys. To help us do this, we develop a number of products and we review them using the well architected framework, and that's what I kind of want to talk about today, but in a more data driven way. So I'm kind of assuming as like ambassadors and working with you're all from partners, you tend to be familiar with the well-architected framework and tool. So I'm just going to do a very short recap on that. So the framework essentially describes key concepts, design principles, architecture best practices for designing and running your workloads on the AWS cloud. So basically answer a few, or in the case of well-architected, 86 questions, and you basically learn from that how your architecture aligns with those cloud best practices, but you also get guidance for making improvements over time. So that's the framework. The tool is designed to help you basically in that review process. So review the state of your applications and the workloads against those architecture best practices, identify the areas for opportunity, for improvement, and effectively track progress over time. So one of the claimed benefits of the tool is the ability to view results of a workload or workload reviews across your organization in a single dashboard. So that's what it says on the documentation. There is a caveat to this, however. They have kind of made it clear, but if you're missing it, I've highlighted it in red. The full set of dashboard analytics only applies to the well-architected lens. So if you're using other lenses, like guys just mentioned, foundational technical reviews, any partner competencies where AWS have provided a lens or you're using custom lenses, that data is not included. So you can see at the top, I've got some workloads, but down here, apparently everything's all good and I've got no problems. That's not true. So to get a full picture of all of our workload reviews, including FTRs, the AWS provided custom lenses, and our own custom lenses, I needed to build out a bit of a solution. So I talked about this on Twitch. I'll give you the QR code for the full talk later on. But basically, the architecture is this. On a daily schedule, you've got a Lambda function that runs and collects the workload IDs of all the workloads in the well-architected tool. Those IDs are put into EventBridge, where another Lambda function picks them up one at a time, goes away to the well-architected APIs, gets all the workload history. Each workload can have multiple milestones, so this is like a point-in-time snapshot of the state of the workload. Each milestone can include one or more lenses, and each lens has one or more pillars, and each pillar has one or more questions with associated responses, which generate your risk level effectively. So the workload history Lambda outputs all of this to a JSON object in S3 in JSON lines format. And from here we catalog that using Glue Data Catalog, and then we can run queries using Athena. And finally, I've hooked all this up to QuickSight so we can do some visualizations. So what I wanted to try, if the demo gods are kind, is a live demo. Yeah, we may need to enter password. So very quickly, I've got an account that I spun up on Sunday and created some workloads. So we've got 4 workloads in here. So as you can see, no issues, everything's good. Well architected, no high risk, no medium risks, up for every workload. Fantastic. Can quit my job, retire, everything's good. They clearly don't need me. That's not quite true. So what I've done is, if I go to, there's my Lambda function. So I've got 4 objects in S3 to correspond to my 4 workloads. And here's a view that I've created in Athena with various fields. And if I run a query, I get a load of results. So every question I've ever answered is in there. And that's nice, but it's not very easy to visualize. So what I did is I created a data set in QuickSight, which links to that view in Athena. And then I created an analysis and published a dashboard. And here it is. So, yeah, thank you, demo gods. So there's my 4 workloads, but instead of no risks, See, very different. I've got quite a few to go at here. So I've got 29 high risks overall, 3 medium risks, 342 questions that I've not answered yet, and 4 questions that I've marked as not applicable. And you can see, if it refreshes, that includes well-architected framework and APN, Foundational Technical Review. In fact, the only things that I've got risks on, because I haven't actually got around to doing the 83 questions on the well-architected review for these dummy workloads, so I've only done FTRs for them. So all my risks are around the FTR. You can see my risks being created over time. So we've got about 100 different workloads as products registered in the workload in a well-architected tool at CDL. So I work on the architecture team where we've got 6 architects, and we report into essentially the CTO. So what the CTO said, well, where are my risks in my architecture? I've got 100 things that are deployed to customers here, 100 products deployed to multiple customers. I actually want to know where I should focus your attention as a team of architects. So this is where we obviously turn to generative AI, because we've got to get that in here somewhere. So I built a topic in QuickSight-Q. So I can say which workload has the most high risks. And you wait.
Out of credits.
Fortunately, Community Builders gave me $500 the other day, so I'm not out of credits yet. So yeah, my example workload and my migrated workload actually have the highest number of risks. And you can see not only is it's giving me a narrative here, it's actually giving me some dashboards that it thinks is actually useful. So okay, I know which workload is the worst, but say which pillar overall has the most high risks. So am I particularly poor at security? Am I particularly poor at operational excellence? Let's find out. So what I need to do is really, if I'm going to focus on one thing, I need to improve my operational excellence. But the other thing is kind of which question out of potentially hundreds of questions if you're using multiple lenses is contributing to these high risks. So I can really drill down in the detail. So operational excellence was the pillar, and the thing that's contributing to this is, you can't really see it from the description there, but that's conduct periodic architecture reviews. So FTR basically says you've got to do a minimum of 1 per year. So basically people are falling behind on this. The next thing, well, equally high is disaster recovery. And in this case, we're not particularly good at handling sensitive data. I will point out these are made-up workloads. They don't belong to CDL. We're doing much better than this. And
is that from all the questions or just the ones that were answered? Because I think at the start you have a block.
yeah, so the unanswered questions, if we go back to the dashboard, it would, basically how we categorize that. So we treat unanswered questions as high risks. Yeah. We categorize them differently, so we can see, because effectively, if you don't answer a question, the tool doesn't have the information in order to calculate a risk. So we could say how many questions are unanswered, which questions are unanswered, which pillars have the most unanswered questions, and you could get to the data that way. But yeah, in this case, just to show you, if I add back in the well-architected lens, it goes from no unanswered questions to 342. That's basically because every time you add a workload, by default, you can't get rid of it. You have to have a well-architected review in there, even if you don't answer any of the questions. So I've got about 30 seconds left. So I promised to give you this, the password. So that's the QR code to Twitch. I'm due to do this talk in a longer form at the New York Summit. So if you have got any feedback, like don't do it, it was rubbish, please tell me now, and I won't do it in July. But yeah, if you've got any feedback to incorporate, I'd really appreciate that. Just drop me a line on Slack.
Did you make that into something that other people can use, like an IDC format of some kind?
Not yet, but yeah, that's on my list to do. Yeah. Basically, the difficult thing is the most time-consuming thing was working through all the APIs and which orders.
Exactly. I don't know.
If you stick those 2 Lambda functions in GitHub somewhere, you're away. Yeah, the rest is easy. Okay, thank you.